This is Stephanie, and this is the Mocha Minutes Podcast. Hey guys, before we get into the episode, I just wanted to let you know about something that's a little new here at the Mocha Minutes Podcast. We are now participating in Buy Me a Coffee. So if you haven't heard, buymeacoffee.com is a place where you can show some support and some love monetarily to some of your favorite content creators. That includes me. So it's in the increments of either $1, $3, or $5, and you can do as many as you would like. So I just wanted to let you guys know, would love some support. So if you would go to buymeacoffee.com/Mocha Minutes, I would greatly appreciate it. It will also be in the show notes. Okay, here we go.
Very superstitious writings on the wall. Very superstitious ladders about to fall. 13-month-old baby broke the looking glass. 7 years of bad luck, the good thing in the past. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Hello, welcome to the Mocha Minutes Podcast. I'm Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me. I have to tell you, it is right before my birthday, and stuff is looking really, girl, stuff is looking easy right now. All over. Craziness is happening. I don't even know how to explain it. If people ask me to explain it, baby, I can't. I really can't, y'all. I really can't. But I'm very excited. I saw a IG post that speaks about Leos being down before their birthday. And anybody who knows me knows, or they may not know, and I think it's because of this post. I get very quiet. I usually get very down. I usually cry either right before my birthday or on my birthday. This has been happening. And this was the first time I'm like, oh, is it because of my Leo? I'm not sure. I had linked it to my depression. It could be like column A and column B. That's what it's starting to feel like, right? But yeah, it spoke. I don't know why it is I get so down before my birthday. I think it's kind of like, oh, it's another year. I'm like, did I get everything that I needed to get done? Or are there things that I've just been like taking my eye off and I shouldn't? It's a lot of emotions going on. And I also add in grief here because then I realize I'm not going to spend my birthday with my dad. So it's a lot going on. And I'm trying not to cry. So let me just ease on away from this. But yeah, it kind of spoke to me. So let's talk about some low key stuff. And that is just going to be all reality. So first of all, Project Runway is back. It's on Hulu. You know, sidebar, I'm tired of Project Runway being bounced from Bravo. It was on Lifetime. Then it was back to Bravo. And now it's on Hulu. And I'm like, girl, I'm getting whiplash. Also, I really do miss it being on Bravo. I feel like it should be back on Bravo. And if you have not started watching it yet, anybody who's a Drag Race fan, Utica is on this season. When he popped up on the screen, I said, why does that face look familiar? I'm like, oh, it's Utica. I'm very excited. I've only watched the premiere. I think it's only, when I was watching it. I watched the premiere. There's a second episode. I don't know if they've dropped the third one, and I also don't know what day these episodes come out. See, that's the problem. Because this is on a streaming service, I'm like, oh, what day can these come on? Like, honestly, I didn't know what day, and just like that would drop. Because it seemed like I would always just watch it over the weekend. So I think it drops on Thursdays. I think it drops at a certain time. Oh, so I don't know. Oh, so premiere is really good. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Law Roach is gonna be a key. He is a key. I'm like, I'm just ready for him and Nina Garcia to like start shifting wigs on each other. I'm like, oh, they man. But the thing about it is, when it comes to the stylists and fashion designers that are judges on this show, they don't hold no punches. So let's see how this is going to go, because there's a video going around of him making a person cry. Now, that person was chirpy as well, but yeah, they really did cry. Whew. So very excited about Project Runway being back. I'm like, I must have missed that announcement that said that Law Roach is going to be on the show. Like, I must have missed it. So very excited about the return of Project Runway, because that's one of my, it's kind of like if you're a Bravo person, that's one of the earlier shows. It's kind of like back in the day with Bravo, it was Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, Kathy Griffin's Life on the D-List, and Project Runway. Oh, and Inside the Actor Studio. So there's that. Love and Marriage Huntsville. Okay. I am not a millimeter. Okay. It really does feel like a different show without Mel being there. Do I miss her? Of course. But I'm not a millimeter, and she really didn't need to be on the show. And I said, like last season, it was because she's not friends with anyone on this show. Not saying she doesn't like anybody on the show, she's not cool to anybody, but like the friend thing, yeah, the comeback group, yeah, no. And the thing about it is, we couldn't go another season with Mel versus Martell. We don't need that big booty man coming on here being ridiculous, okay? Because she was here. And because Mel is gone, now we're going to get Ariane. And when I tell you, this is about to be some foolishness. I think we're on episode 3. And I have been seeing the comments about Trish, Ken, and Marquez. And I know it takes 2 people to tango, right? I find it very interesting that a lot of the blame is being, like, from what I've been seeing, a lot of people are kind of like saying, Trish, this is all your fault. And I'm sitting here like, this man literally ran off to Atlanta while his wife, his high school sweetheart, was dealing with back-to-back deaths of people in her family. I am so sorry. I know people are saying like, oh, I think they're still in love. No, I don't. I literally think what we're seeing when it comes to Trish and Ken is it's fucking on sight for your ass. Because I swear to beans, I feel like Trish would literally beat the brakes off of Marquez if there was no cameras. I think when people are saying love, I'm saying anger and disdain. I really is like, she's looking like, girl, when is this girl going to turn 18 so I ain't got to deal with his ass no more? And I know there's like rumbles about, did the paperwork have the children on there? And I hear y'all. I don't know. I really don't. But I honestly, Trish, do I feel like Trish should have started a relationship with Kim after the ink dried? Yes. Because this will make this a lot cleaner. I don't want to see Ken risking jail time by dealing with this clown, because I swear Marquez is a troll and he is trolling y'all asses. He really is. And it's like, girl, everybody's like, I think they're still in love. No, I think she fucking hates this man. And she got to deal with him. And she hates it. Wait a minute. I think that's what we're seeing. I'm sorry. I think you're probably going to listen like, oh, did the sound change? I think what's going to happen is we are seeing disdain. There, because I think that's the other part. I'm like, love is an emotion, so is anger. I see anger. I mean, I get what people are saying. It just doesn't look like love to me. It looks like I want this nigga out my life. If I could skin you alive, I would. If I could make your death look like an accident, I would. That is what I see. But I may be just giving a little bit more grace to Trish, and I could be looking at this totally wrong. But that's just where I'm sitting with it. Nell and Chris. Nell is lying. And Chris is a snake oil salesman because, one, he is playing the game of semantics. I know that when I see it. It's kind of like, oh, I didn't say that. I'm like, no, that is what you said. I think it's like, he'll be like, well, that's not really the whole thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm blowing through this because, my God. And Maurice Luther King got a gut punch by Jalen because he said, I looked at Martell more of a father figure than you. And that man lives in your house. And I find it interesting that Maurice is very confused by this. I'm confused that Maurice is confused. Maurice, it don't seem like you're very hands-on because here it is. Kimmy is helping your son, with stuff for college. And Kyle maybe just like, don't put me back on this fucking screen in this camera. I don't think that, that's the thing. I think Maurice Jr., because I refuse to call that boy monster. I'm not doing that. It's like, girl, we black. We're not calling our black kids monsters. And Maurice Luther King should actually know that. You seem to be in touch with your blackness, so you can understand, like, why would you call a black man a monster? Nope. You know what? So he was very surprised. Maurice seems like a hands-off parent, and it seemed like he left a lot of the household things and the child rearing, even though Kimmy's son is literally an adult. It's very much, she seems very hands-off. I think based on how Jalen says it, it just seems like he looks more to Marceau as a father figure because it seems like he spent more time with Marceau after he graduated, I guess, college. But I think probably in those these are formidable years. And he just spent more time with Marceau. I feel like he just looked at Maurice like that was his mama's husband, because that's what it sounds like. And I think it also was resentment that basically he was Cinderella in his house. Maurice, why are you asking him to do all of this stuff when I'm like, your son is sitting right there? Like, Maurice Jr. wasn't a baby. It isn't, but I will say there is a significant age gap, I think. At least 7 years, I think. So I can understand that, but if he's like 16, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this house runs. I also don't know all the ages of these children. The young men in the Scott families it's very interesting to me. It really is. And that dinner with Maurice and Marceau, and when Maurice said, you lie all the time, I'm like, oh girl. I can't wait to see the to be continued on this. Also, Ken, don't ask people advice. You're just going to get defensive because you're like, you wanted their advice and they're giving it to you and you don't like it. And it doesn't sound like his friend dislikes Trish. It's just kind of like, this situation is messy as fuck. It really is. And it's kind of like, girl, I think it is messier because Marquez had been on the midnight train to Georgia for a few years. So they were cool. Now this man wants to come back around. And I think now it's complicated and messy. Because I do believe Ken, he's like, we don't have no issues except outside of this. I'm like, yeah, because I think for the first couple of years, Marquez was just a thought. He was not visibly in front of them. So no. When y'all fall in love, he is like, her having a husband and the ink not dry on the divorce is not an issue. Now that nigga coming back around. Girl, it's like, it's a mess. It's a mess, honestly. And every state, when it comes to divorce, every state is different, right? So, Chile. But so far, I do like this season of Love and Marriage Huntsville. We're going to keep it moving. And yeah, I'm saying Nell is being very interesting. Now, I'm saying I feel like I'm starting to see the crater coming between Tisha and Nell, and I think it's mostly because they weren't all that close in the first place, because remember, Nell was more closer to Mel, and Mel and Tisha were not cool. So it's like, it's not like they were like besties and all of a sudden it's like something happened. I'm like, I don't think they were all that friends. They weren't all that close in the first place. To a certain extent, do I believe that she didn't know about the baby until he called and said, hey, I'm on my way, the water broke? No, I do not. I don't. But I'm gonna sit here with like, it's mighty convenient that you can say, I ain't know nothing about this baby until the day of the reunion. Okay. Whatever you say, Miss Nell. Whatever you say. Okay. So let's talk about a couple of Bravo high notes. All right. Real Housewives of Miami. Lord Jesus. I'm struggling this season. I really am. Mostly because I don't like how they are treating Gertie. And I don't like that there's another Stephanie embarrassing me on Bravo. Okay? I don't like that. Is she totally wrong? No. Is she totally right? Also, no. I'm like, Stephanie, get on my nerves. I don't like how Gertie is being treated by this cast. I also was like very, very surprised, or I guess I shouldn't be surprised, about Isaac Mizrahi on Watch What Happens Live saying, I'm so glad you threw water on that woman. I'm sorry, why would you? And the thing about it is, I don't think he realized how that sounded. He's like, I mean, because if he wasn't, what else would we be talking about? Larsa versus Lisa, Stephanie versus Alexa, Stephanie versus Lisa. There are other things happening, because we would still be talking about Gertie and Julia even if she had not thrown water on her. The water is not the reason why we're talking about this. The disagreement and the lying from Julia is what we're talking about. So that does sound kind of shitty, and I will give this to Andrew. I'm glad he said it to him his face in the moment, saying that is a very bad take. I'm like, cause it is. Like, I'm like, why are you okay with that? I think and people are saying, oh, I've seen a couple comments where people are like, oh my God, Gertie, get over it. Baby, I know y'all like this is old, but it's brand new to this screen. And if you ever been through something that's extremely triggering, seeing it again play out is just like, girl, I cannot. Gertie did not deserve to get water splashed on her, and y'all literally should have told Julia she's dead ass wrong. And y'all didn't. And now y'all backpedaling. Now y'all like, oh, it happened so fast, we should have did more. Girl, shut up. You instantly react when shit is not good for you. So that is not an excuse, Alexia. It's just not. Y'all are making some piss poor excuses. When, let's be very clear, if Julia had thrown water on y'all would be like, fuck that bitch forever. So I don't know why y'all cannot just say, Julia, I get that you're mad at Gertie, but you dead ass wrong to throw water on her. It's like, that was way too far. And on top of that, you're like, but because y'all had more of a reaction to them sharing text messages, which actually shows that Julia lied to y'all. It actually absolved her. And y'all not focusing on that. Y'all had a bigger, I'm like, that happened so fast too, if I'm not mistaken. So y'all can react to that, but you couldn't react to literally Gertie being assaulted? Do better. So part 2 of the Valley reunion came on. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Jason is insufferable. Except for standing up for Jasmine. He's insufferable. Your wife has been a twat all fucking season. And you're trying to act like she ain't been. Like, oh, girl, shut up. Jason, stop. Be like, what do you mean? What is she doing? I'm like, she's being an asshole. And I watched the Valley reunion on Peacock. So it's uncensored and extended edition. And when there was a part where they say, I'm like, does Janet ever tell you that, like, talk about you and say Brittany don't hang out with them? She said yes, she did say that. I heard her say it, and I'm like, so then Zach is not going crazy because Janet acts like, oh, it's just one-sided and you all talk about me. That's a damn lie, and I know it is. And Kentucky Muffin is covering for a lot of it. I honestly am glad that this is Jax's last season, because when I say I don't give a fuck, crackhead, I don't care. You don't, it's like, I don't want you dead. I just want you off my screen. That's it. I want you off my screen. Because one is very much like your life is so fucked up and you've been doing drugs all of this time and you only like have these outbursts to deflect from your issue. So you coming after Danny and Nia. Coming after Zach. You coming after Brittany. You coming after everybody else because you don't want nobody to focus on the fact that you're a fucking crackhead. And Zach is better than me because I swear I'd have swung by now. It's like, you got one motherfucking time more to say something to me. Say something else sideways out your face to me. Please. Janet, stop acting obtuse. Jason, stop acting obtuse. Danny, I get that you have apologized. But there's sometimes, just like it is triggering for Gertie to see what happened with her and Julia, it's triggering for Jasmine. I get that you apologized, but I feel like what we're seeing is your apology didn't encompass everything that happened. Because the thing about it is shout out to Dominique Morgan. There's a tinge of nuance there that you're not realizing. I'm like, oh, okay. You made it seem so light, but there were so many compounding issues with what happened. And even though I said all that, I'm gonna tell Jasmine this right now. You should have told him to your face. I hear that you said the apology, but it's gonna take me a while. I'm still mad about this. It's gonna take me a minute. Please give me space, because I want people to realize, even when people apologize, it really does depend on, one, the apology, and two, the relationship. But sometimes, and it's just sometimes, you need a little bit more time to actually forgive someone. Forgiveness is not a light switch. It can be depending on the relationship you have with someone, but a lot of times you need a minute. And I feel like, because the apology wasn't as complete as it needed to be, that's why Jasmine kind of wasn't over it. That's why she kept taking little digs, because she wasn't over it yet. She hadn't forgiven you yet. Can't say that I blame her. And so, but Jasmine has to be more honest with them, because also it wasn't just Jasmine that he disrespected. It was her now fiance. Both of their asses were missed. And I don't think Danny realizes that. Because Nia, if you can get, and mind you, we got Kristen and Nia, and they are very pregnant women and hormones all over the place. Nia, if you can get choked up by someone alluding to your husband being a serial groper or serially inappropriate with women, plural, then you can understand why Jasmine's like, girl, fuck you. You got to give people space to actually forgive. And sometimes it takes a little bit more than just the words. It just does. I can't wait to see what's happening in part 3. Because the only time that I'm like, Jason, shut the fuck up, has been everything else except for him standing up for Jasmine. That's the only thing. It's like everything else, shut up. All right, let's get out of reality and Bravo. Let's go mid-key. So, BET, I don't know how this came. I don't know. But BET has canceled indefinitely the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. It's literally... And I don't understand, because where did this come from? So they are the network suspended. It says suspended indefinitely the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. And these are two award shows that is significantly attached to black music. The CEO of so just to give y'all know, the BET Hip Hop Awards have been happening since 2006. The Soul Train Awards have been happening since 1987. We even had a BET the Lady of Soul Awards. God, I miss those. It was always a good time. So BET CEO Scott Mills said, for BET Linear, we have suspended the Soul Train and Hip Hop Award shows, but we have a team that's actively thinking about where those award shows might best live as the media climate continues to evolve. It's not about them being over. It's about reimagining how we deliver them in today's fast-changing media landscape. I don't understand. You only have one networks. What do you mean where they would go? Are you going to put it on BET Plus? Girl, what? Like, why would you pull this? Is it because of ratings? I mean, why? I don't understand it. Now, I'm not a hippity hop head. I'm not. But I wouldn't say cancel it either. The Soul Train Awards, even though Soul Train is not on, the Soul Train Awards are still on. I don't understand. And that's weird. It's weird, and I don't think this should have been done. But we shall see if it hops somewhere else. Maybe they'll give it to TV One. Maybe they'll ask OWN. Maybe they'll reach out to Carlos King and Kingdom Reign and say, hey, can you produce this show? Maybe that's what they're going to do. But again, it's confusion. But what also is confusion is Nicki Minaj in another beef, this time with an ex-NFL football player, Dez Bryant. Girl, what the heck? And this is from The Root. Shout out to The Root. So, they are posting this article that says Nicki Minaj versus NFL star Dez Bryant, the fact and fiction of their wild beef. It's not every day you see a rapper and athlete go at it online, but that's exactly what's transpiring between Nicki Minaj and NFL star Dez Bryant. But since there's a lot of wild words and accusations floating around, we thought it best to break it all down for you in a way that makes sense. Let's get into it. How it started. Things all popped off 3 days ago when Bryant took to X to air out his grievances against Dallas Cowboy owner Jerry Jones after he mentioned the player's name and alleged that he and Roc Nation walked away from the negotiating table over a decade ago. In response, Bryant warned Jones to keep his name out of his mouth before he opens up about some things that Jones likely doesn't want aired out. What he wrote on X was, Jerry Jones, and this is all caps, child. Jerry Jones, I don't think it's smart to mention my name. I kept quiet about a lot of unfair shit on some G shit. We can have story time if that's what we are doing. Out of nowhere, and it truly was, Nicki Minaj stepped into the conversation and offered to give her own story time each time Bryant shared one about the NFL and Jones. While it initially intrigued Bryant, he ultimately decided he wants no parts in whatever game Minaj was playing, when she made it clear in a follow-up post that her story times are going to be about Roc Nation, Jay-Z, and alleged racist Desiree Perez, Roc Nation CEO. However, when Bryant responded and said he was going to respectfully bow out, Minaj blasted him with a new screenshot from 2020, which is read that he was getting dragged for jumping into a beef the Chun-Li rapper was engaged in at the time. This just came across my desk. You have a desk? From 2020. I guess you're one of the guinea pigs they've been using to bully people for them. Did you think I came over here to play tweetsies with your silly ass, sir? See, the problem with people who are always playing is that they think everyone else is playing. 2, I'd mind my business if I were you, be blessed. That's when things went all the way left with Minaj telling Bryant to go beat his mom. Yeah, because that was just weird. Bryant calling out Minaj's husband for being a sex offender, and the rapper ultimately offering Bryant $10 million in cash to come and fight her husband. What's really fact and fiction? Lord have mercy. Given the seriousness of the allegations put forth by both parties in this situation, it's pertinent that people decipher what's true and what's just purely speculation. Let's start with Minaj telling Bryant to go beat up his mom. That was in reference to a 2012 incident in which the Dallas Cowboys player was arrested for allegedly assaulting his mother. According to ESPN, At the time, a police report detailed that Bryant allegedly grabbed her by the t-shirt and hair and hit her across the face with his ball cap. She suffered pain in her wrists, hands, and arms, because he's a fucking football player. Had bruises and a sore chest from when Bryant allegedly pushed her. As a result, he was charged with a Class A misdemeanor for assaulting a female family member and was released a few hours later. Both Bryant and his attorney denied any assault ever took place. Now let's address Bryant calling Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty, a sex offender. What is true is that in 2021, Petty pled guilty to knowingly failing to register as a sex offender when a couple took up residence in LA in July 2019, prior to marrying in October later that same year. Under the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act, failure to register is a federal crime. His status as a registered sex offender stems from a decades-old sexual assault conviction in which he was convicted of attempted first-degree rape and subsequently sentenced to 18 to 54 months in a New York State prison. Lastly, Minaj also reposted the claim that Bryant's father raped his mother, which stems from a 2015 Rolling Stone interview Bryant did, in which he revealed that at age 14, his mother was impregnated with him by a man who happened to be his grandmother's boyfriend at the time. The man was also the father of two of Bryant's mother's siblings. That is a lot. Whew. How it ended. So they're talking about how the beef ended. While the harsh words exchanged by Bryant and Minaj are hard to grapple with, it seems their beef may have finally reached its end. After telling Bryant she had $10 million in cash for him to come and beat up her husband, girl, what? The NFL star said he'd take her up on the offer and sided with Jay-Z and Roc Nation, but the Pink Friday rapper has yet to respond directly to that. So he had quote tweeted her tweet. So her tweet was, "I'm so happy you brought this up. I'll give you $10 million in cash if you come and fight him since you beat your own mom. He was lied on 31 years ago while both of them were 16, and there's proof. That's why they couldn't get that money they desperately needed and sued for." Des Bryant quote tweet read, "I've been lied on my whole career, so I'm not trying to hear all that shit. I thought we were speaking facts. I don't play all of that funny shit. Go get that $10 million in cash. I'll stomp that nigga out right in front of you, and it's rock for life, bitch." Girl, what? As of Tuesday, August 5th, Minaj's ire seems to have somehow moved on to NBA star Shaquille O'Neal. But you're on your own for finding out why on that one, despite the random mess this caused. Here's hoping that there's a permanent pin in the drama between Minaj and Bryant. There really are more important things for them to do besides go back and forth on social media. Also, why the hell would you want to... let me get this straight. You would run the risk of your husband getting his ass beat by Des Bryant and for $10 million? Girl, what is happening with Nicki Minaj? I need a Barb to explain this to me like I'm 7. Because all I'm thinking, every time some of this bullshit comes out about Nicki, all I'm thinking is, girl, is she upset because that man she married can't take their son to the playground? Is this why this is happening? Girl, you stuck in that house with that man and he can't just take the kid to the playground. You gotta write letters so you can leave the country. Girl, I don't know what is going on right now. Girl, it is bizarre and sublime to the ridiculous. I'm like, SZA, Des Bryant, Roc Nation. I'm like, girl, what is happening right now? I just want her to put some music out, okay? Just put the music out. Stop talking. Stop tweeting. I think there was a post a few days ago, apparently her IG Live didn't get a lot of viewers, and I think she said, "Whose fault is that?" I'm like, but again, apparently that's Jay-Z's fault. I'm like, how is... I don't know, girl. That's it. I don't know. Maybe she getting high with Jax. Allegedly. I'm kidding. Jax is sober. Let me not make those jokes. That's wrong. I guess it's wrong. I don't know. Actually, no, it is wrong. Let me not say I guess. It is wrong, Stephanie. Stephanie is wrong. Don't make these jokes. I'm gonna laugh. Girl. Shout out to the diva. I don't even know I don't understand. Sometimes you go, girl, I don't understand. I should say I don't understand this, but next topic, or next story. I should say I don't understand this, but I guess I should, because think about what the person is. Trump is telling states that if they don't support Israel, they will not get FEMA money. The Trump administration is putting politics ahead of disaster relief. Under a new policy announced by FEMA, states and cities that boycott Israeli companies could lose access to billions in emergency funding. Money that's used for things like search and rescue gear, backup power, and emergency response salaries. The move is part of a broader push by the administration to penalize local governments that support the BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. BDS supporters want to cut economic ties with Israel over its treatment of Palestinians. The movement gained traction in 2023 after the conflict in Gaza intensified. Now, FEMA says states must certify they won't cut off business with Israeli companies in order to qualify for disaster preparedness grants. That applies to more than $1.9 billion in federal funds. Cities like New York, which stands to receive over $90 million, will be required to sign off on the condition. This isn't the first time FEMA funds have come with strings. In July, the agency required that states use some of their terrorism prevention money to help federal authorities arrest migrants, another Trump priority. Critics, including the Council on American Islamic Relations, say this latest move is unconstitutional and dangerous. Denying aid denying aid to places hit by floods, hurricanes, and wildfires just because they support human rights, that's state-sponsored cruelty. CAIR, Council on American Islamic Relations, Robert McCall. Even some Trump allies are pushing back. In May, Trump supporters in Congress slammed a separate bill, H.R. 867, that would criminalize Israel boycott, saying it threatened free speech. The backlash forced lawmakers to pull the vote. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, usually aligned with Trump, publicly opposed the bill, saying Americans should have the rights to boycott whoever they want. But Homeland Security is standing firm. A spokesperson says they will continue enforcing rules against anti-Semitism, including policies targeting the BDS movement. In short, if your city wants federal help after a disaster, the Trump administration wants to know where you stand on Israel first. Literally, there are videos and photos of Palestinian children, people, men, women, children, starving to death. Chris Smalls was beaten and incarcerated on a boat trying to give aid to Palestinians. And this is what you want to do? When we say this administration is the devil, do not tell us that we are wrong, because this is disgusting. But not a surprising move by a tyrant. It's not surprising to me, but it's extremely gross. Let's move into high key and talk about something very else gross. In Texas Democrats are leaving the country to break quorum because they don't want to vote, because Texas Republicans want to draw new congressional maps. They want to do gerrymandering. They want to do redlining. And the Texas Democrats are like, fuck this shit, I'm out. So, from The Guardian, Texas Democrats who left the state say they experienced a bomb threat at their Illinois hotel on Wednesday morning amid an ongoing clash with Texas Republicans over their effort to block a new congressional map from going into place. John Busey, or Bucky III, I'm sorry for screwing up your name, a Democrat who represents Austin in the state legislature, confirmed the threat on X on Wednesday and said the lawmakers had been evacuated. This is what happens when Republican state leaders publicly call for us to be hunted down. Texas Democrats won't be intimidated. We are safe, we are secure, and we are undeterred. 3 other members of the Texas House Democratic Caucus, Representatives Jean Wu, Ramon Romero, and Barbara Gervin Hawkins, said in a statement. They thanked Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and law enforcement officials for their quick action to ensure their safety. The showdown between Texas Republicans and the Democrats who fled the state to block redistricting plans escalated late on Tuesday when Texas's governor, Greg Abbott, filed an emergency petition asking the state Supreme Court to remove Wu, the top Democrat in the state House of Representatives, and declare his seat vacant. Fearing one of 18 items on the special session agenda, Democrat members of the House claim an entitlement to abdicate their official duties by refusing to show up for work, lawyers for Abbott's office wrote in the filing, asking the court to rule on his request by Thursday. These members have abandoned their official duties required by the Constitution. In a statement on Tuesday evening, Wu said he would not be intimidated by Abbott's request. This office does not belong to Greg Abbott, and it does not belong to me. It belongs to the people of House District 137 who elected me. I took an oath to the Constitution, not a politician's agenda, and I will not be the one to break that oath. Let me be unequivocally about my actions and my duty. When a governor conspires with a disgraced president to ram through a racist gerrymandered map, my constitutional duty is not to be a willing participant. Texas Republicans already hold 25 of Texas's 38 congressional seats, but Abbott agreed to redraw the state congressional districts at the request of Donald Trump to add more GOP-friendly districts, because that's why they want to redo the map. Republicans hold a narrow 219-212 advantage in the U.S. House, and the Texas redraw is a brazen effort to try to shore up Republicans' advantage before next year's midterm elections, when Republicans are expected to lose seats. A new map unveiled last week would favor Republicans in 30 of 38 seats and weaken the influence of Hispanic voters throughout the state. Texas, they want to weaken the Hispanic. I would have thought for Donald Trump. I swear that the song is a fucking bop, but I swear I want to literally boo, boo, lame, tomato, tomato, tomato. I'm throwing tomatoes. Abbott's effort is considered a long shot, legal experts told the Texas Tribune. In 2021, the Texas Supreme Court made clear that the state constitution both allows state lawmakers to break quorum and allow for mechanisms for lawmakers to bring them back. I'm aware of absolutely no authority that says breaking quorum is the same as the intent to abandon a seat. Charles Rocky Rhodes, a constitutional law expert at the University of Missouri Law School, told the Tribune. That would require the courts extending the premise of the breaking point. It's inconsistent with the very text of the Texas Constitution. The Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, a Republican, has said he also plans to take legal action to try to remove the lawmakers from office. Girl, hot ass mess. A hot ass mess. On Tuesday, the U.S. Senator John Cornyn asked the FBI to assist in returning lawmakers to Texas. Trump said on Tuesday that the FBI may have to get involved. The governor of Texas is demanding they come back. You can't just sit it out. You have to go back. You have to fight it out. That's what elections are all about. Girl, shut up. Under rules enacted by the legislature, lawmakers also face a $500 daily fine for each day they are not present in the Capitol. Many of the costs so far, including a private charter to Illinois, meals and lodging, have been picked up by Powered by the People, a political group started by former Representative Beto O'Rourke, the Texas Tribune reported. Paxton announced on Wednesday he was investigating the group's funding of the effort. Girl, shut up. Trey Martinez Fisher, a Democratic representative of San Antonio in the state legislature, said in an interview he was unfazed by the possibility of racking up fines. Not concerned about it at all. We've had rules set aside before, and courts don't have to interpret the rules the way Republicans want them to be interpreted. The group is very committed, and we recognize that this is much bigger. It's much bigger than anybody's individual congressional district. It's much bigger than anybody's individual city, and it's even bigger than the state of Texas. Other states appear to be following Texas's lead and considering mid-cycle redistricting. Ohio is already set to redraw its congressional map this year because of a unique state law, and it's expected to add more GOP-friendly seats. Republicans in Missouri and Indiana are also reportedly considering redrawing maps to add GOP-friendly districts. Democratic governors have threatened to redraw the maps in their states too, to offset Republican gains, though they do not have the power to draw as many seats as Republicans do. The biggest opportunity for Democrats is in California, which has 52 seats in Congress. Governor Gavin Newsom is reportedly moving ahead with a referendum this fall to ask to adopt a new map that would add Democratic seats and override an independent redistricting commission. So, when it comes to politics, it's crazy. But this is a very radical thing for them to do. And I would not equate this to them being activists, because I have to say, this is just something that I feel, and I felt this way. There's no such thing as a activist politician, but there are political activists. And it seems like the Democrats in Texas are leaning more to being activist politicians because they're like, enough is enough. I hope that they are enjoying Illinois. And the fact that they actually did this is very applauded, because this is not even on federal level. This is the state level. This kind of shit happens all the time. Gerrymandering and redlining, tale as old as time. They're trying to get Republican seats. They have done redlining and gerrymandering for racist ideas to keep black neighborhoods at a certain place, keep poor neighborhoods poor, and white neighborhoods, and I'm putting rich neighborhoods rich, aka white. So this was a few years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but Maryland's districts were redrawn. It wasn't for this reason, I don't believe, but districts were redrawn. States do this a lot, and sometimes it's blips. This is big news because they left the state. They're like, we're breaking quorum. We're not doing this. And they're like, 500-day girl, fine your ass. They're like, I don't care. We're not coming back. I'm going to eat my poached egg in Illinois. A bomb threat. Girl, please. Okay. Last story before I get on out of here. So by now, oh gosh. Sorry, I almost fell out of my chair. Sorry. Almost fell out of my chair. Oh my God. If you have not seen it in its entirety, you've probably heard of Olay and Friends and this panel with Laverne Cox. That Laverne Cox. If you're like, what Laverne? That Laverne Cox. So Laverne Cox was on Olay and Friends. And the snapshot that went up, it said betrayal ? So Cat Black, Hope Giselle, Quay Tan, am I missing Dominique Morgan? If you are not following Dominique Morgan on the social medias, you are missing out, because she is freaking hilarious. I love her videos. I like following her. I love following her. And Deshawn, and I can't remember their last name. So Olay and Friends, it is Olay's platform. Olay is a cis or biological woman, because everybody will call me cis. I'm like, okay. I'm not going there today. They had a panel. And when I tell you, it was literally like they shook Laverne Cox every which way but loose. This was like 2 hours. 2 hours of imagine. Oh Lord. Whew. Is it 2 hours? Let me see. I may be I will I don't know why I want to say this song. I will vote Donald Trump. I'm sorry. It's rude. Yes, it was 2 hours and 21 minutes. And when I tell you, they were... Oh, sorry. We're gonna pause that. Sorry. I was clicking because I wanted to get the time right, and literally it started doing it. All right. Oh. So yeah, it's like 2 hours and then it started. When I tell you homegirl got red, this is Olay's platform, and she kind of stepped away because all of the people that she asked are trans, were trans women, and then there was Deshaun, who is trans non-binary, but also he's a desire expert. I think I'm sorry, not he, my apologies. They describe themselves as a gender abolitionist. So I will say, and this is very true, because they had a live, it's just debriefing, and I'll get to that in a minute. And I just realized that they were absolutely right. Like, this is 2 hours and 21 minutes. The first hour, Deshaun didn't really say anything. Okay? So this was 2 hours of them whacking. They're basically, it's like we're saying that it was a whacking of Laverne, but essentially it was a basically a call-in for them. It's calling Laverne in, because if you have, like, I think I mentioned it on a previous episode, but yeah, it was the way Laverne described this, and it was more like, girl, you did not have to tell this. It's like, girl, I don't even know how her one woman show at City Winery in New York went. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm like, girl, it was the way that she was talking about him. And I had a theory on, like, they're like, wait, you were from 3.5 years. What changed? It's because her MAGA cop, Biden was in office, so there was nothing. Where is he going to put all that action after January 6, 2021? Where were they going to put it? Where were they going to put it? They had no place to put it. So I don't know what the catalyst was. She didn't necessarily say what it was, but he must have said something that pissed her off, and she's like, you know what, I'm done. Because I think during this show, she mentioned that she's blocked. And also, I'm looking at the background of Laverne's video, because everybody was on Zoom, and I'm like, God, I just want to get in her closet, because some of these pieces behind her, Lord, fantastic. I shouldn't be focused on that, but I am. And so you have very opinionated people, and I think even though they mentioned T.S. Madison and mentioned Angelica Ross, those two were not there. T.S. said that she was not asked, and I think I started watching her Angelica's video about this, and I can't remember if she said she was invited and just said no. In sidebar, Angelica Ross and Hope Giselle and Laverne Cox are friends. So there was so Quay Tan was on this show, and she mentioned that Angelica wants no part of this, and she said, you are sleeping with your oppressor. And Angelica's like, I don't remember saying this, but it sounds like something I would say. And then in my mind, I'm like, would she say that to her friend? I don't know. But it does seem like, if she's like this, I'm like, I don't remember saying that to her, but it sounds like something I would say. I think my first thought after watching the 2 hours and 21 minutes of the Laverne wig shift, my first thought was, Laverne Cox is more of a lady than I ever would be. Because I don't think I would have taken 30 minutes of that. And the fact that she had somewhere to go, and she had a hard stop, and she continued, that says a lot. And it shows that, one, she respects the people that were on this call, and she really does love her community. Because I feel like if she actually did after this and close her computer, I think this wouldn't go well. There are so many people like, girl, I would never. T.S. Madison, Maddie on the morning, she had me on the floor where she said, y'all wouldn't play with me like that. I'm like, I'm sorry, I agree. I don't think there would be many people, biological women or trans women, that would have been so graceful as Laverne was, and that really does speak to her age. Laverne is in her 50s. And not saying if you were getting to a certain age, you like learn to be emotionally mature, because there are some emotionally immature 50 and 60-year-old women that are on Basketball Wives. So that ain't it. But it's just she gave the beauty and grace of a miscongeniality, honestly. But she did give a little bit more context, and I think that was the other problem with the video. There was no context to this. She didn't say in her video that, one, he didn't tell me he was like, he didn't walk up to her like on our first date, hi, my name is Clinton, I love MAGA, and I'm a cop. She actually said he did not tell me he was a cop. He told me he did real estate. And she didn't say exactly what made was it's a chop for this, but he must have said something. And she pulled the plug, because apparently they haven't been together for like a year. I'm glad Dominique was here, because I like Dominique because she loves to give nuance. She does. Because the thing about it is, even with Laverne, even this whole situation, there is nuance to this. It really is. And you can choose to give grace or not. It's like, you don't have to. But I'm so glad that a lot of people did. But I think also they gave it to her straight. Shout out to Hope Giselle, because my God, if you have followed Hope Giselle, if you have listened, if you watched her videos, you've listened to her speak, Hope is a straight shooter. And I realized in the last couple of days why she is. She's an August Leo. When I tell you, I say this a lot. If you don't want me to answer the question, don't ask me. If you don't want the answer, don't ask me no question. Wrong answer. Why'd you ask me that question? Because I'm going to be straight with you. And I think she is friendly with Laverne, but I don't think she's her friend. But I think even if she was her friend, she would be this. I feel like if this was not a conversation that we could see, I think she would have been even more transparent with Laverne. And there have been different reaction videos about this. Hope herself has done a few Instagram lives to give more context. Deshaun did their live. I watched their live, and Lord have mercy. And then Quay Tan. On this video, I was very confused about what the hell was going on, because Quay seemed extremely offended that Deshaun was there. Now, at first glance, you look at the grid, you're like, why is this man here? Until they say they are trans non-binary, or they're non-binary. And I'm like, well, okay. And then, according to their IG, they were coming, like, they have been on Oleo Friends several times, and they were there to talk about the desirability topic that's encompassed in the all of the spark of this moment. Which, when they explained it, that made total sense to me. I'm like, okay, we're talking about desirability and desire. Totally get it. But Quay was like downright antagonistic and just nasty. Listen here, Miss Mamas. If this was like, the thing about it is, it's like, whether you like it or not, Olay invited Deshaun to be here. Girl, stop playing. Because I'm glad that Deshaun said, what is your issue with me? And I'm like, oop, uh-oh. because it was like there, and you're like, what the hell is going on? It was like, I'm sorry, I'm like, because at first it's like, did they have an issue? Like, what's tea? What's this? And it was a couple times like you saw Dominique jump in, like, hey, can we just do this? Da, 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 da. In Deshawn's IG Live, they did express that they wish that more people had spoke up, and I can understand that. I think it would have been a lot more, is like, because Olay essentially had like backed out. Basically, she set the table for everybody and then she left the room. I think it would have been a little bit more if Olay had stepped back in and said, hey, and just explained, Quay is here, not Quay, Deshawn is here because I asked him to be here because of this, da, 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 da. Because as Dominique said in her IG, it was just a video, it wasn't an IG Live. She said, I didn't even know why Deshawn was there. And I didn't realize why they were there until they explained in the IG Live. And I wish I had known that. I would, and I understand that. I'm like, that would have helped a lot. But I feel like Olay, I know you wanted to like step back and just go like, you know what, I'm not going to get in this. I'm going to give y'all a table, because I could understand why she stepped back. I feel like she should have assigned a moderator. And I feel like Cat Black probably would have been a good moderator, honestly. So I think that would have helped a lot if she had like assigned like a trans woman to be the moderator. Like if you're like, okay, I don't think it would probably for me to moderate, you should have picked somebody else. I'm just saying Cat, because I feel like during this time, Cat Black really didn't speak that much. And I think it would have been great to have a moderator. I watched Bondi Blue's video about this. Now, I am a biological woman. Bondi Blue is a biological woman. I was debating if I wanted to talk about this, because I'm like, is it my place? Because I stay at a Black trans women business. I have listened to Fairy Puss. I've listened to Angelica Ross, Hope Giselle, Diamond Styles. I have Marsha's Plate. And I'm like, I can give my opinion, but my opinion does not weigh more than the Black trans women that are discussing this. The trans activists discussing this. My opinion does not outweigh theirs. It doesn't. And it's not for me to say, oh my gosh, I should, like, it's not for me. Like, if Laverne had offered an apology, it would not be for me to accept it. Because I agree. When it comes to the history books, Laverne is going to be in it. And that is mostly because she is brave enough to live out loud who she is. And for a lot of people, they didn't know about Black trans women until they watched Orange is the New Black. Even though Black trans women and transness has been around for God knows how long, but we're visual creatures. So people are like, they won't understand it until it's in their face. So they do feel disappointed. It's kind of like when you put someone on a pedestal and they do something, it's like you're disappointed, like, damn, come on, girl. But I'm going to get this little caveat, okay? The last man I saw Laverne with was a whole white man, okay? When she said, so I wouldn't be surprised to see her dating a white man, right? Would not be surprised. And so when people say, is it because he's white or is it because it's the MAGA cop? It's the MAGA cop thing. It sounds like mostly because, and I think it's more of the MAGA thing than anything. Based on the climate currently, girl, that's where everybody is having an issue. How can you literally be with a man who fundamentally can't stand your fucking ass and don't want you to have no rights to nothing? How can you literally swap spit and go to Pound Town with this man? How? Now, you can lean to more like, oh, it was lies by omission, and by the time, like, I don't know, maybe she was stigmatized by that time and she's like, oh, I can't give him up. And then he said something like, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm out. This is what I will agree with Bondi Blue on. Not that she said a lot of things I disagree with, because I understand. It's like, girl, because I hear that is the whispers. Like, if you are a very successful queer black person, your mate is probably not going to be black. Maybe unless you're a WNBA pair. I don't know. And you do see that. You really do. And that is always going to be a sticking point. It's like, now, why is it? Why is it if you're queer and black and you get a little tinch of money, your mate is not going to be black? It could be several reasons. Because it seems like if you have compounding oppressive groups, you go where you're desired. And sometimes you are not desired under the umbrella that is black. And I want people to understand that a little bit more. It's like, you are under the impression that would just make everything okay. Oh, you should have picked a black man. Now, I want to see black love too. And I love everybody who has found that person who sees them entirely and doesn't seem to just like their parts, actually like them as a person. But that may not be true for everybody. It just may not. And that also is not a Band-Aid. Because just like I said, when you got these these men that have been terrible to women and they are now with who done some shady shit and they have a non-black partner and people say, no, you need to get a black one. I'm like, oh no, that's not the catch-all and be-all. We're not doing that. I kind of feel like this about Laverne. Now, even though it seems like her taste is more on the vanilla side, just say, oh, just get you a black man. That's not the catch-all that everybody thinks it is. I understand it, but if you're looking at the stats on the attacks on black trans women, please remind me of the demo that's harming them the most. I'll wait. So the thing about it is so this is what it looks like. Either you can deal with the danger on the inside of the house or the outside of the house. And that sucks. Let everybody know. Go where you're desired. And the thing about it is like, hearts, not parts. It's like they say that about people who are or pan or bisexual. This is how I feel. Bliss and not tone. I gotta think of a better way to that's terrible. I can understand if somebody divest from just only dating in their race because they've had, I don't think people understand what a toll that takes on someone. Because I think because Laverne has been visibly with white men, that they think she's never fucked any black man, which we're not talking about. We're not talking about fucking people. We're talking about being in a relationship with someone, which is totally different. Because Laverne is a very beautiful woman, and it was very true, and I'm glad Dominique said it. It's like, and I think Brianna Jenkins, shout out to her. She's also a very good one to follow as well. If that could happen to Laverne, what about us? Because essentially, that is what black women are taught. Biological or trans. I'm trying to tell y'all. You better settle for whatever you can get. And I think as a demo, we are divesting from that. Stop telling us to settle for any old thing. I'm like, I'll get you a black man that may hurt me or may not support me or may not stand up for me around his friends. Mind you, her white partner could do the same thing. Okay? I'm not saying that. Just a terrible man, whether black, white, or indifferent, is still terrible. It don't matter. And I'm sorry. So would it have been better if she was with a MAGA cop that was black? That's why I said it's not necessarily a white part. It is the MAGA part, at least for me. Because if you don't think there's any black MAGA cops, I have a vineyard in California to sell you. Yeah, there's black MAGAs too. Would that be better? Is bitch better? I applaud Laverne because I'm sorry. I couldn't have done it. And it seems like the person who seemed to be the most affected and probably the person that's probably getting the most dagger is Hope Giselle. And that's because she was the most vocal and she was the most straightforward with her. And I understand why she suggested, like, girl, why couldn't you be just with a black man? And I think it's because she found her black man who supports her. I don't think she is naive to, and if the man that she was with, who was her husband, and before they got married and got real serious, showed any sort of signs of not supporting her, I think he would not be her husband right now. But I think Hope is the story for not just not just trans women, but also she's a story for me that it is possible. But I think it has to be a lot of ordered steps and a lot of intervention and also a lot of willingness to educate. And sometimes you just try to fuck somebody. Honestly. I'm glad that there was more nuance added by Hope and Deshaun and actually Olay. I think Olay did a few stories. And Dominique. Hope is the most, because I think because she's so vocal and she feels all of it. And it's like, I get it. As an August Leo, I get it. I get Dominique saying, I don't like being misunderstood. I get all of that. Because that's one thing I don't like. I don't like being I'm like, girl, that is not what I said. And why are you saying I said that? That's not what the fuck I said. Right? So I get that. It's like, after the third live, I was like, Hope, baby, stop talking. Unplug that phone. Girl, I'm glad that she offered an apology to Deshaun. I'm glad that she gave a little bit more nuance. But baby, hang it up flat screen. You don't owe us all of this explanation. She don't owe us all of this. And it seemed like she was the most vocal. And the person that should have been more vocal is the one who attacked Deshaun. No. Like, she gave an explanation. Now, I've said this before. I can understand something that I don't agree with, and that's exactly what Hope did when she explained Quay's behavior. She understood exactly why she was doing it, and she didn't agree with it. She's like, that's not right. You shouldn't have treated him that way. My apologies. Them that way. Treating them that way is whack. And she did say that. And again, that's why I keep saying you can understand anything that you disagree with. Like, understanding something and agreeing with something are two different things. And that is what I saw with Hope's explanation. She wasn't agreeing with Quay's behavior. And it's like, I don't want to say she was excusing, because she really wasn't. She was just explaining it. She was like, I can understand it. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. Because at first pass, I was wondering why Deshaun was there. But when they explained it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. But I wished it had been explained to the panel. Laverne, girl, you better than me. Because I would not. But hopefully, I was like, I think the discourse is still going on, but it's kind of slowing down, I think. And I hope that maybe by, I don't know, August 11th, we're not talking about this anymore. Because August 11th is the best day of the year. It's my solar return. Okay. So y'all, this has been the Mocha Minutes podcast. I will not be back next week because next week I will not be recording because next week is my birthday and I'm taking off. I'm off from work. I will just be doing stuff to celebrate me. Hopefully I will not cry on my birthday. I plan on not crying on my birthday actually. But yeah, next week is going to be a week of girl no. So everybody, I will be back in a couple weeks. And if if you would love to bless me for my birthday, please buy me a coffee. buymeacoffee.com/Mocha Minutes. Ooh, hold on. Hold on. Or if you would like to bless my Cash App. My Cash App is $Mocha Sunshine 99. Would love it. Or if you just share this episode, would love that too. I appreciate all of you, and I will be back.